שלום, אני שירי לופוביץ מרוצים השניים, המקום שלכם להעצמת התשוקה בזוגיות. אני שמחה ונרגשת לארח היום את דוקטור סטאן טאטקין. הוא מטפל זוגי בכיר מאזור קליפורניה, הוא כתב את שני הספרים Wired for Love ו-Love and War, והוא גם פיתח את שיטת PACT, שהיא שיטה שמבוססת על פסיכוביולוגיה. הוא משתמש במחקרים המעודכנים ביותר על גוף האדם ועל חקר המוח, נוירוביולוגיה, כדי לעזור לזוגות להבין את ההתנהגות שלהם ולשנות אותה, על מנת ליצור מרחב זוגי בטוח שנעים לחיות בו. אז הרעיון מתנהל בשפה האנגלית, ואתם מוזמנים להצטרף. Hi. Hi. I'm very glad to have you here with me in my video channel.
I'm glad to be had.
Thanks. And we are here on a workshop. And yesterday you mentioned a few interesting ideas that I'd like you to share with the Israeli audience. And the first thing is you talked about when a couple hugs, they press a certain place in the body.
Right.
That creates a certain biological reaction.
Yes.
It has a lot of good
results. Yes.
Both personally and for the affection.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Well, one thing it does, when we hug, when we embrace, we press against the belly, and that shuts down the stress system. So if people are very anxious, very stressed, and they're okay with touch, then this is an effective way to calm down very quickly. In fact, people can try this if you are depressed or anxious. You can hug lots of people who you know, who you are close to, and if you hug them well and closely, even for just a second or two, you'll notice that your mood begins to stabilize. If you're depressed, you move up. If you're anxious, you move down, and it's very nice.
So you're saying that hugging makes you feel safer and not alert, and that can you tell us about the HPA mechanism that you talked about yesterday?
The HPA system, that's called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. That's our stress system. It starts in the hypothalamus, which sets off a whole sequence of events that gets us ready for fighting or running away. And this system is important for action, it's important for liveliness, but it's supposed to turn off. And in some people, it never turns off, or it doesn't turn off all the way. And so for those people, for most of us, it's touch that shuts that system down. Also, very close eye contact also can shut it down too. Initially, eye contact makes us go up, but sustained eye contact with someone friendly is not threatening. We start to also come down and settle. So those are two things that people can do to elevate their mood and to lower anxiety and arousal and to turn that HPA system off, which it's supposed to turn off. If it doesn't turn off, it stays on, we get sick. So this is actually very important. And we know that this works for all mammals, but particularly for primates and for humans.
So when we hug, this system shuts down. That's one way to shut it down.
That's one way.
And also we can maintain physical contacts.
Physical contact and eye contact. Yeah.
And that relates to another interesting thing that you mentioned yesterday, that when a couple has a conversation about a conflict, since they get into the fight or flight mode, they're not really able not to listen very carefully to one another, not to comprehend, and not even to remember what happened in that conversation.
That's right, yes.
And that's why after the conversation sometimes there are situations when everyone remembers something else.
Right.
So what causes this and what can help? I think it's
if you and I get too excited, and I'm not talking about excited positively, excited negatively, then what starts to happen is we are getting ready for action, for fighting or fleeing, and in some cases for fainting, depends on how we're wired. And In either of those cases, our arousal moves up to the point or down to the point where our brain doesn't function properly. And that happens very easily. So if you started to say something that was very upsetting to me, and my face looked very dangerous to you, maybe I rolled my eyes and that was dangerous to you, your arousal would go up, and then you shook your head and said, you know, you always do this, my arousal goes up. Now we're getting to the point where certain parts of our brain, particularly here and on here, starts to go offline, and now we're reacting and acting in a very primitive manner that is there to save our lives, not to move anything forward. So this is all human beings. This is nothing new. It's nothing unnatural. It's exactly how we're supposed to be. But in love, if you don't realize this, you could be treating each other like you're predators, not lovers, simply because your arousal, your tension, your stress is moving up, and your brain can't function properly. And one of the ways you know if that's happening is you start saying the same things over and over again. People repeat the same thing. There's nothing new, ever. Also, they begin to look like they're not friendly. The face starts to get still. Movements start to get still. People look a little bit more threatened or threatening, and that's how you can tell. And that's basically the way out of that is to do something friendly. You know, is to stop and say, God, I love you. I'm really sorry. You know, oh, I love what you're wearing today. I'm mad at you, but you know what? I adore you. You know, something that's friendly, and then everybody comes down, and now we can think again.
Think and listen and remember.
Yes, you
all
cannot.
Cognitive.
Yes, if you cannot think, you're not going to remember in the same way. You remember, but you remember flashes. Nothing in continuous. Yes.
Okay. And also what you said before, we can use it for this situation as well. So
yes,
if we want to talk about a conflict, we should not sit very far away on the other sides of the long sofa. We should sit very close.
So we can see each other's eyes.
Confront each other and look in the eyes.
Confront could be...
I mean...
But we can see each other's eyes, and so as we're looking at each other's eyes this close, we can see each other change. And unless we're going very, very fast, in other words, we're fighting and we're talking very fast, we should be able to see each other change and make adjustments. But if we're too far away, we can't. Or if we're driving in the car and you're looking here and we're looking straight ahead, we're more threatening to the side than we are straight on.
So don't talk about things that are in conflict while you're in the car.
No, always stop
it.
And turn and go face to face.
Right, and also if you should maintain physical contact, for example, hold your hands, it will also help you to calm down the nervous system.
You can calm down the nervous system by holding hands or just holding the gaze. Some people don't like eyes. Some people don't like holding hands. Some people don't like hugging.
So you should do either.
But you have to do something.
Right.
You can't just do nothing.
If you want to move forward and get to a good conversation.
Yes. You want to move forward, you have to make peace and not war.
Right. And the great thing about it is you can talk about the worst thing, but when you do it like that, you feel good about the conversation after.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what the subject is, how important it is.
Yes. One thing that people should also know is that, and this is for lovers, that we fall in love through the eyes, not at a distance. At a distance is lust. Close up is love. So for those people who want to feel love again, you have to be up close.
Right. And you talked about lust. From my opinion, in my experience, and I help people with their lust.
Yes, that's what I hear.
To want each other. When you do it, and it makes you very emotionally close, it gets the lust as well.
It does. For some. For others, no.
All right.
It depends. It depends. For people who like to be close, yes. For people who don't like to be close, it may be a little hard. So some of your people that are out there, the eye contact and the closeness may want them to run away a little bit.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
But when you practice it,
when you practice it, which you actually must,
Right.
because there is nowhere to go when you run away,
Right.
especially if you're running away from the person you love. There is nowhere else to go, so
I definitely agree with you.
so you kind of have to learn to get used to it a little bit.
And then it can get.
And then it can get, yes. But it's very important that, let's say I were that person who runs away because it's too intense, too much.
Right.
It would be very important that if you're my partner, that you understand it and you're not mad at me.
You don't take it personally, because it's not about you, it's about me. It's difficult for me to get
That's
this close.
right. It feels like it's about you, but it's not. I would do this with anybody. I would start to back away. I would want to run away. I've been that way since I was a little child.
Right.
So the only way I can learn to do it is if you are patient with me and not angry, but you also expect me to do it.
Right.
Okay?
So it is changeable.
Oh, that's absolutely changeable. But you would have to, here's an example, if I were that person, you would have to say, come here, sit by me, look at me, tell me you love me, and then you can go.
Or you tell me you love me first and then...
No, but I'm saying for someone like me, who's, who has a hard time, right? If I have a hard time, and I don't like to hold hands, and I want to sit this close, and I kind of want to go back and do my thing, but you want closeness, yeah?
So you should demand it.
You have to demand it and say something like, come here, sit here, give me a kiss, tell me you love me, and then you can go on your way.
Right. And
You have to release me,
okay.
and then I'll want to do it more.
Okay. So the idea is to release. Do it.
Absolutely.
And release, and then it
Release.
feels okay.
Release
I did it and survived.
Release me before I feel trapped,
Right. That's a very good hint.
and then do it often.
So
That's
the
how-
brain gets used to it.
So I get used to it, and I'm not afraid that you'll be angry with me or that you'll hold on to me and I won't be able to go.
Wow.
It works.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love your optimism.
Good.
And I agree with every word.
You're so cute. She's cute.
Dr. Stan, thank you very much for being with us today.
My pleasure.